Welcome to the Copilot Cafe. In this session, we are going to be talking about the exciting new features in Copilot in Excel. Eagerly anticipated. We have been sat in the preview version of Excel for what feels like forever. People have been asking tons and tons of questions of when are we going to see more features, and they have delivered. So whereas before Excel was probably that beginners, if you're not really a big Excel user, then, it might save you some time. But now we're talking about people that are more intermediate, more advanced users of Excel, people that spend every day using Excel. This is going to be helpful for them. There's even an advanced analysis mode with Python. People who use Python are really excited about it and can't wait to get started. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of Python. I'm not an advanced user of Excel. But I've heard that actually you don't need to be an expert user of Python to get the benefits. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. And once we do get to see more of that and I get to better understanding of it, I'll come back with a video and we'll focus just on that Python element. So some things to call out with Copilot and Excel, especially if you haven't used it yet. The data has to be in OneDrive or SharePoint. So if you've got a massive Excel spreadsheet that's sat on a network drive somewhere, this isn't going to work. So put it in the cloud. Second is it now doesn't have to have a table structure. So before you had to have your data in a table. Now it doesn't have to be in a table, but it does have to be structured as you'd expect. So let's dive straight in and have a look at how we can use Copilot in Excel. Okay, so I've got some dummy data here that I've put together. It's employee data, so what's the name, job title, department, unit that they work in, are they male or female, age, hiring date, annual salary, how much do they get by bonus, and which city and country are they in, as well as the exit date if they've left the company. So basic data set. Now if I go into Copilot, which you'll find on the home ribbon there, you get now very familiar, I'm sure, sidebar in Copilot. I'm going to ask the question, on average, do males or females earn the most annual salary in the United States? Let's see what it can find out from this data. Now, normally I would have put a number of filters on this, or I've created a pivot table or something to try and analyze that data. So let's see what Copilot has come back with. So it's analyzed. Here's what I found. Annual salary by gender for country United States. Give me a lovely chart there that I could add to a sheet. And it said, on average, males earn more by annual salary. That's how much they earn, than females who earn 112,000. So that's a great quick demonstration of how it's looked at that data. Now, I was really, really clear what I wanted here. So I said, on average, do males or females, and I know I've got males and females in here, earn the most annual salary, so it knows there's a column called annual salary, in the United States, and there's a country, United States. So I've been really clear with what my prompt is there, and that is giving me exactly the answer I want to know. And if I click add to new sheet, it's put that in a lovely chart for me, and I can now visualize that. I can also have a play about with this. So if I wanted to ask that same question now of China, I could ask that, and of Brazil, interestingly enough. So just a quick example there of asking information. Let's ask some more things. What if I need to project the salary increases we plan to give for the next few years? I could say something like, okay, what will be the total cost of annual salary with a 5% increase for next year's pay rise? So I can press go on that. It knows what the annual salary is for this year, so it's going to go away and add 5%. I could have done this with some quick formulas, but let's get Copilot to help again. So let's see what it's going to say. Okay, so here's a formula to review and insert in column N. So if I wanted to pop it in N, it's going to pop it in there. Total cost. Calculates the total cost for each employee by multiplying their current salary and include it in a 5% increase. So it's giving me the formula. I can click into that and it'll give me a further explanation of how it's come up with that formula. It's also giving me a great view here of what that would look like if I put it into a column. So I'm actually going to say insert column, and then I can go and make the changes that I want to that column. So now I know what is 5% annual salary increase. So I've got that new column there. Now we know that not all analysis is about looking at numerical data. A lot of it is looking at text, especially things like feedback and understanding sentiment or trying to prioritize some of that feedback. So I'm just going to pop a little column in here with some colleague feedback that we've recently had. Pop that into my spreadsheet. I can now ask questions of that text. So I might want to say, summarize the feedback. What are the top 3 opportunities for improvement? Right, so here's a summary of column feedback: flexible hours, more meeting rooms, better parking, enhanced IT support, wellbeing programs. So although I asked it just to come up with 3, it's come up with a few more, but I'm good with that. That's absolutely fine. So I get the idea of what people are asking for in the feedback. Now, sometimes you will ask it to do certain things and it'll say it can't do it. And that's okay. At least it's letting me know it can't do it. The first thing I would always do is just check the prompts that you've put in. Have you given it enough clarity to get what you want? So, you know, if I want the average of these 2 columns, have you put the names of those columns in clearly? Have you said, you know, exactly what you want the outcome to be? So thinking about that GCSE formula that we use. So what's the goal, what's the source, what's the context, what's the expectation? Think about what it is that you're asking, and give it another go. Just, you know, give it another chance to give you the answers back. Sometimes it won't be able to do what you're asking it to do, but it will tell you how you can do it. So you've got a learning opportunity there as well. So we can continue asking questions of this data. But a great place to start is definitely looking at these different prompts that are already in there. Summarize using pivot tables or charts. But also I love the different options that it comes with as well. So maybe you want to look at the average age for by business unit, maybe manufacturing, things like that. Or if you can go down to the view prompts, it gives you a few different things that you might want to try. Now, if you get a little bit stuck with the replies that are coming back on here, you can actually go into chat history, and that's where you're going to find that new chat. So you can restart the discussion with Copilot, which sometimes helps. I also really like this little button down here where I can just keep pressing refresh, and it'll come up with different suggestions for me. So have a look through there. So how many departments or how many people are in IT, basically. That might be a question you want to ask. How many females have we got? I want you to bold out the first column, so we're going to talk about highlighting in a second. One prompt that often comes up is show me insights. If I click show me insights, I'm just in case I'm going to type it because it hasn't come up for me here. But it'll give me a different insight. So I'll have a look at my data and offer me up a different insight. So bonus percentage by department. That might be really useful insight. I can add that to my sheet. It's going to tell me how it's come up with this. So an average bonus percentage by department is as follows: marketing 12%, accounting 11%. So if you work in IT, you only get on average a 5% bonus, which I think is pretty unfair. So lots of different insights. You can keep asking for other insights, And then I like this one. So add all insights to grid. So if I click that, it's going to put the insights it's come up with on a separate page here. So bonus by department. You don't want to work in IT by the looks of it. 5% annual salary increase by gender. So what would that look like? Are we being equal? Job title, vice president and director have a noticeably higher bonus. Well, there's a shocker. Field bonus percentage and annual salary increase. So loads of great insights there, but then you've got that pivot table already created for you, so you can go and have a play about with that. All right, so now let's have a think about, okay, so we can ask questions, but what happens if we want to make changes to this data? Now, I can do some really clever things with this. So I could say to Copilot, create a column that shows the annual salary in pounds using today's exchange rate. So you can see here it's in dollars, but maybe I need that in pounds. So it's going to go away and have a look at today's exchange rate. Now, I might have a sheet with all the different exchange rates that the company needs to use, and I can ask it to go and do a lookup of that page or that worksheet if I wanted to. In this case, I'm just asking it, go to the web, find me what the exchange rate is. So at the moment, annual salary in pounds converts the annual salary of each employee from dollars to pounds by, this is the exchange rate it's going to use. It shows me the formula. I can dig through into the explanation if I wanted to. It shows me what this would look like. Most suggestions there. So I can quickly add that new column in pounds. So that might be helpful for me. I might want to do something even smarter than that. Okay, so it could be that we're thinking about what are the 3 sets of skills that we need for people in these departments, and I want to know who's got these skills. So the first question I'm going to really ask is, what should be the 3 main skills for people in this department? So I'm going to say, let's put my little prompt in that I've already created. Create a column that includes 3 skills per row divided by comma separated values, and the skills should be relevant to the business unit mentioned in column E. So I'm using Copilot here to go away, grab some insight, think about what might be relative to the skills needed in this business unit. So just looking at this, assigning a list of relevant skills to each employee based on their business unit to help quickly identify the expertise in your area. So it's come up with this quite a large formula here, and then give me an example of what that would look like. So I'm going to press Insert Column. And now I've got this column of, okay, these are skills we probably expect to be needed for this department, and it's separated those by comma. Now, it could be that you have a column in your spreadsheet that has multiple words in it, separated by a comma, and you just want to pull out part of that text and pop it into a new column. So you could do things like say, okay, add a column that extracts the text in the first word of column, in this case Q. So I want it to pull the first word out of this column and pop it into another one. I'm sure you can think of a number of reasons why you might use this. So this is now going to create a new column, and it's actually calling it first skill, which is great because so it understands that this is the first skill in this list. And you see, it's giving me the formula again. It's also giving me that example. So the first word would be research. Next one would be quality control. Exactly what I'm expecting to see. And I could do that again. You know, I could ask it again, pull out the second word. So you get the idea. I just want to show you how, one, you can insert data, but also how you can pull out parts of data from a cell. Now, an example that often comes up, and this is more for your basic requests, is things like this. So separate full name. So I've got a column here called full name, and put it into two columns for first name and last name. I get this all the time. Like, people will send me, the full names. I actually need that separating, or they'll send me an email address, and actually I need the first name and second name popping into separate columns. So it's gone through here again really quickly. It's creating me a first name column, and it's creating me a last name column. I didn't have to tell it which part was the first name or last name. It has given me the formulas. It's given me examples. So I've got an idea of what that's going to look like. And now I've got two columns, a first name and a last name. Obviously, I need to go and check some of these and just make sure they are right. But, 99% of that, I'm sure, is going to be absolutely perfect. All right, so we've added some things. We've made some changes. Let's think about some more things we might want to do. So I could have a scenario where I want to create some charts. So let's create a chart showing the total cost of annual salary from column I. Let me just check that is the right column. Yeah, so column I. And I want to do it by quarter. So now I'm starting, okay, I want you to analyze my data, and I want you to put in a beautiful chart that's going to make sense that I can then show my execs. So it's giving me a chart here. Here's a pivot chart showing the total cost of annual salary by quarter. Now I'm going to add that to new sheet because I want to just see what this looks like. Now you can see here, it's added year. That doesn't really make sense to me. I just want my quarters. So because it's created me a pivot table, I could just remove that field. This is what I actually wanted. I want to see our wage bill per quarter, and it's done that, put it in a nice little chart for me. What other charts do I want? Well, I could say create a column chart showing hiring of females year by year. How are we getting on for our diversity metrics? Maybe that could be a question that our HR department have got. So it's going to analyze that data. I created a column chart showing the hiring of employees, right? So I'm going to add that to a new sheet. All right, so it's given me the data. So how many females we've hired. So, in 1992, we were hiring 4, and in 2021, we were hiring 51, which is great. Actually, it didn't give me the pretty chart that I would like, but there is AI already built into Excel, so I could say insert and recommended charts. And there we go. So I can combine the two. If it's got me 80-90% of the way there, then that's definitely going to be of help. All right, let's think about what else we could do. Maybe I need another table. So I could say, create a table grouping numbers of colleagues by country. So similar kind of ask. I want to give you different examples of how it might display this data. So here's a table. Actually, this might be everything I wanted to know. I just want to know how many people we've got in each of these countries. But again, I can say, okay, add that to a new table. And again, I could go and ask, create me a lovely chart using that data. Actually, one of the most used actions in Excel is to highlight data, and a lot of people actually do it manually. And there is the feature of using something like conditional formatting, but it can feel like a lot of effort sometimes and a lot of clicks to get what you want. So how can you use Copilot to help you highlight the data that you're looking for? So let's have a look at some examples here. So I could say things like, okay, highlight all the cells with over 15% in column J. Column J is our bonus column. and I could have said bonus column, but I'm just going to say column J here, and I want you to put them in green. So it's going to have a look. It's going to just double check with you, knows what you're on about. So, okay, anything over 0.15, we're going to apply a green color to. So let's apply that, and you can see that has done that beautifully. Might want to do things like, okay, well, I want you to add colouring to show all the IT departments in blue and all the sales departments in red. So again, it's going, okay, I think I get what you want. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to press apply to that. If I scroll across now, see all IT departments in blue, sales in red. So that's working well. I might want to say, show me some empty values. Now, this isn't probably the best data set to use, but to get the idea, and I'm going to say in column M, because that is the only place I actually have any blank values currently, or blank cells. So it's going to have a look through, and anything that has a blank cell, it's going to pop in yellow. And you can see it's done that. And then also things like duplicate values as well. That's something that can be the bane of most people's lives. So highlight duplicate values in column D. Now it's going to cause a bit of confusion actually. So I'm just going to change that to duplicate values in column H. It might be that we want to see who started on the same day and celebrate the time with the business. So if I do duplicate values here, for instance, I could sort by color now. Okay, these are my duplicate values. Okay, so you see here it's gone through and highlighted those. Things like bolding out certain colors, something else you could do. So bold out the highest annual salary. And I'm going to say in column I, only because I've got two columns now that say annual salary. So let's see who's earning all the money. I'll press apply to that. Filter by that color now. So the vice president of sales in manufacturing is on a 35% bonus and has the biggest annual salary. So totally makes sense. That gives you a bit of an idea about highlighting, which is one of the most used features in Excel. Then we can also start to think about how can Copilot help us with education. So what about some how-to questions? I might want to know, how could I write a formula to split a column with comma separated values? So the column that I've got here, maybe I actually just want to split all of that out now. Again, it's going to go away and it's going to explain to me, one, here's a copy of what the formula might look like, but then tell me what to do with it. So I drag this formula down to apply it to other rows in column A. Right. So there's lots of ways that we can now use Copilot to help us learn how to actually use Excel. Continuing on that learning theme, what else could we do? I'm not a big Excel user, but I could ask it things like, well, what are some of the keyboard shortcuts related to handling data in Excel? You know, some people out there who think they are advanced users of Excel might be missing a trick in some cases. So, you know, are there some shortcuts that they hadn't used either? So here we've got a whole list of shortcuts. I might ask it, what are some of the lesser known keyboard shortcuts for Excel? Let's see what it comes up with here. We could even ask it, what are the best Excel formulas that people don't know about? Let's see what we've got. Okay, one of the best Excel formulas that many people might not know is the let function. Never heard of it. It allows you to assign names to calculation results. Interesting. All right. So wherever you are, whether you're at school, you're at college, or at work, this is going to really help you advance your Excel knowledge without having to spend ages searching up various websites trying to find that information. Just having a little deeper dive into formulas as well. One thing I find really useful is sometimes you get these huge spreadsheets and there's a formula in there, but I've no idea what it actually does. So I can ask Copilot to help me with that too. So I could say, what does this formula do? And then pick out a formula. So what have we got here? Let's see which ones I just created. Let's pick this one, for instance. And I just copy that formula in there and press go. And it's going to tell me what that formula actually does. So if this was going out to various different workbooks or different sheets as well, I mean, that would be really helpful. So this one's really simple, obviously. It extracts the text that appears before the comma in the cell with the skills within the skills column. So in this column, for example, if the cell contains research, data analysis, innovation, the formula will return research. So it really breaks down exactly what that formula is doing. Now, there may be times where you put a prompt in and Copilot says it can't do that, and you know it can. It's done it before. Maybe change up your prompt, put that prompt back in and give it another go, or give it a little bit more data. And if then it still says it can't do it and you've refreshed Copilot and it's not doing it, ask it why it can't do it. Like, what is it that you need from me in order to be able to complete this? So push Copilot to explain why it won't do what you're asking it to do. Another tip here is if you are putting in a formula and that formula is not working and you just don't understand why, ask Copilot, why is this formula not working? What does this error message actually mean? It will really help guide you through fixing that error. So I'm hoping that gave you an idea of how you can start using Excel. I'm a very basic Excel user, but I can definitely see the value of this to somebody that's using Excel every single day. There are lots of resources out there to help you. I'm going to put these all in the description. There's a fantastic 26 slide deck on some of the different formulas you might want to try out, similar to what I just did then. There's also the blog post that talks about Python and what's coming there, and a little video to show you what you can expect to see. My final top tips for today would be, if you are not sure where to start, go into Copilot in Excel and just ask Copilot, give me 10 things today to try with Copilot in Excel. It will give you some ideas of different prompts you want to use. Definitely take a look at those default prompts that are in there. Have a look at some of the suggestions and just have a play about with it. Once you've got your favorite prompts, definitely put them somewhere that you can use again. And don't forget to share them with colleagues, because if they're useful for you, they're going to be useful for colleagues. So I hope you've enjoyed today's session. Happy excelling, if that is a word. Until next time.
Welcome to the Copilot Cafe. Join Joe for a 10-minute stay.